Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Immersive Podcast with your extra furry host, Tyler. We are here today with Sarah from The Essence Healing. How are you doing today, Sarah?
Thank you. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well today. Thank you for joining me. And you're speaking to me from Germany, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you for
Very,
asking.
very cool. Awesome. Yeah, very good to have you. I love it when we're speaking across the pond. It's it just feels like we're spreading more positive energies when I talk to 3 or 4 continents, in a few days. I really feel like I feel some empowerment in that, like just like a little bit more reach was there, in the metaphysical sense, throwing things out into that consciousness and such. I really like that concept. So yeah. Obviously, quick shout out to the affiliate sponsors, and I'm trying to keep these a little shorter so we have to listen to them forever. But Gaia TV, we love you, and we are happy to be affiliated, and thank you for the ambassadorship. And we cannot wait to see what we can do together to help forward the mission, raising the consciousness on this planet. Unified TV, I'll just tell you, there's a link in the bio for a free trial. If you get the yearly subscription, you get access to all the free live events. And I heavily suggest the Disclosure series with Ray and Jason Shurka. And one more, Federation of Light Clothing. Usually I'm wearing their shirts, but today, I'm sorry, I got a bunch of new merch to wear it, because let's be honest, it looks pretty okay. But GFL Clothing, you see me wearing it all the time. Tyler33, add a hat to your carton. The hat's free. Hat's on me. Tyler33. Shout out to Dotan and Tabel from GFL Clothing. They are the embodiment of light workers, and they found a way to do it through clothing, which to me just another example of anybody having a place in New Earth. So with that all out of the way, Sarah, tell me a little bit about the Essence Healing, and just a little bit of origin story on how you started your brand, and what your mission is and what you do, etc.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, English is not my native language, so if I'm speaking some nonsense,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Spoken quite a bit already. We've spoken quite a bit already. I've been able to converse with you just fine. So for what it's worth.
Thank you for the feedback. So yeah, Essence Healing. Well, basically, it's all about helping others on their journey to ascension. Because when I started my journey of ascension, it's an ongoing journey. I'm not finished, and I probably won't until I'm ascended, whenever this will be.
Right. They're not here
But
anymore.
yeah, right. I'm here. But when I first started off, I was like completely lost. There are so many informations out there, so many things we need to do on a spiritual path and such things. And I found it very difficult for myself to navigate through all this. Therefore, I felt the call and the need, after I done my research and done my healing work, to really help others navigate and have somebody to turn to,
Ascension.
to really turn to if there are some spiritual or healing works to do. Most of the time, I actually was really completely lost and overwhelmed with all you have to let go. And I was like, okay, I have to let go, but how do I let go? What am I doing? This was something nobody told me about. It was always like, let go.
Oh,
and I was
yeah.
like, okay, how?
Yeah, it sounds simple, right?
Do you feel the same?
Couple words there, and that myself, the ridding attachments thing is basically like the whole, if I could master ridding attachments, then I would already be good. I'd be a light body. But that's like my Achilles heel. I get attached to stuff. I always have. And I have a hard time. Like, I care about things. I love things. I don't, that's ever evolving. I'm understanding the concept of what attachment really means, and the real nature of what this life and what maybe is beyond this life actually is. The real nature of time, the real nature of physics. I've studied quite a bit into that stuff. both intellectually with the math and, spiritually meditation. I do trance meditations. I do spend a lot of time in that state. And it's apparent to me that there's actually something, even come from a purely scientific standpoint. It's sort of like, they say science is catching up to spirituality. And it's like, yeah, I've sat and done that math. And it's, and that's enough right there. That's enough proof for me to trust fall into this game. I mean, the new Earth game, the Ascension game, that can mean anything. That can mean talking about Ascension. And you know what you said earlier there, it almost sounds something like an Ascension sponsor, in the sense of like just somebody to talk to go to during when and if you hit that spiritual awakening or that dark night of the soul, that you have somebody to go to that, has agreed to be there for you. And I don't know about you, but when people come to me with those kind of questions, it usually seems to be when I'm having some kind of internal struggle or something like that. When somebody comes and asks for advice and it's usually very fitting to like what I'm going through at the time. I go back to fundamentals and I become a third-party observer. I'm a little zoomed out. And, after speaking and kind of analyzing another situation, which is a reflection I'm now seeing of myself, I can solve my situation too. And, it's helping other people is often that's helping me. It's honestly, guys out there, sometimes I'm just being selfish when I'm like talking to you in the middle of the night. But there's no such thing as a selfless good deed. I mean, that's the thing. So tell, for, I guess, some prospective clients, that work for, or your clients that are with, not work for, I'm sorry, that work with you since healing, and then, potential clients, people that out there might want to work with you, etc. How does that start? Like, what is the program like that you have kind of developed?
Well, I mean, not the first step if somebody's waking up. Yeah, this is not the type of
Okay.
people I'm with. It's more like you are already on your journey and you want to evolve, you want to improve, you want to get your life in a better direction, you want to get back into oneness, and you find for yourself that you are already a divine being. I mean, this is one step ahead of the awakening process, I would say. So I'm just getting there into the life of the others. So they are mostly coming to me like one client of mine came to me and I was like, okay, I'm seeing I'm starting to seeing sacred geometry in my everyday life. I mean, this is nothing somebody who's just awakened will experience.
Of course.
Those are the people who are coming to me, and then we are just start talking, and we see, okay, what is needed there? What is the goal? And I mean, I have different approaches. One of it is I had a beautiful teacher, Debbie Solaris. She was on your podcast, and I adore her.
He's
She's
such a
beautiful.
sweetheart. That's great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She's really
We love you,
awesome. And
Debbie. I hope you watch this show still. So that's great. I'm sorry. So you took, but
always
did so
send
you
her
you
this.
took Debbie Solaris's. So you took Debbie's course, though, that one of the ones that she offers. I mean, they've evolved over the past couple of years and such. But you took one of
Yeah, this was
hers.
the
Some time ago.
second time she's doing Akashic teachings. She quitted Akashic
Very
readings. I
cool.
know you know already. So I was in the second class she was doing, and so what I specialize myself on, I'm not doing general Akashic reading. I mean, there are others who can just read into stories of Arcturians and stuff. I'm not doing this. I personally don't like to get lost in stories. I mean, we
Too deep down the
try to
rabbit hole.
clear.
I agree with you there.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we are here clearing everything we experience. We are clearing our story as humans. Why should I open up a book or the box of Pandora from another life of Arcturian or whatever? So I don't like that. So
Very well said. And it's just absolutely like we talk ascension and people, and I've said this a few episodes in a row, but I know not everybody sees every second of every episode. I'm going to say it again. We talk ascension, but what is the inverse and the opposite of ascension? That's ascension, and
Second, yeah.
that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We tend to think, okay, ascend is good. Like, you ascend in your career, you ascend you see your stock portfolio ascend has human, material, and kind of three-dimensional positive connotations, where the opposite of that's not good, going down. But what dissension really means in terms of soul theory, reincarnation, well, the universe in general, dissension would be souls separating as, from the one, the concept of the law of one, the concept of oneness.
Yeah.
One would argue that we already descended, separated from the one in order to be fractals and have infinite experiences from every perspective. And then once that is, these aren't my theories. I didn't develop these things. I'm paraphrasing and such. And I think our audience is a little familiar with this stuff, but, we talk ascension now. So to me, that means no, we're done with the splitting into more fractals and trying to have more experience. It seems like that's what this end of cycle is. To me, that's my opinion. This shift, this consciousness shift is, and there's a lot of cycles, year 26,000 year cycle, the 12,000 year cycle, etc. Some of them aren't a set amount of years. Some of them are based on, clouds and planets and things like that. But everything seems to have that, that same kind of common thread underneath it to me. And I just kind of like to bring that up a lot because, I think a lot of times we get talking on ascension and the ascension symptoms and the ascension process, and I think we might be mislabeling it sometimes, and that's not a bad thing. It's just it's important. It's important to correct, right? I think it's good to nip that stuff in the bud so everybody's speaking properly, not misinforming without knowing it.
Yeah, on your side. Well, basically what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing so much. So what I'm actually doing is soul mission reading. So I really go to the point from where a soul fractaled from source, and what initial thought had source with creating that soul, because everything else is just a story. So we all fractal from source for a reason. We all had a kind of a mission, our blueprint, so to say. What was the blueprint God gave us when we fractaled from it, or from source? God, Allah, whoever you want to call
God,
it, however,
source, universe,
source, universe, creator, being, whatever. We are talking about the same.
goes by many names.
Then many names, right? So this is basically what I'm doing. I'm doing a soul mission reading, and this alone is helping people so much to really reconnect with, from the inside. I mean, it must resonate. I can tell you, you had a life in as an Arcturian, and if it's not resonating with you, you're just saying, okay, I had a reading, I was this and that, and you have nothing from it. So I will try to really catch this divine spot and really say, okay, I will take what resonates with you. And I haven't had any readings which wasn't resonating at all. So after that, after a while, they are coming to me again and saying, okay, this was my journey so far after our reading. I'm now here at this stage. How can we go on? And then we have different opportunities, like clearing some childhood trauma, whatever came up for that person, right? It's not just it's no strict, you need to do this, that, and then you are a clear person. No, it's a lifelong process, even for me. So we're not finished after healing, so to say.
Yeah, 100%. I say, I'm never done. I don't want to be done. I want to keep learning. It's funny. I had a past life regression done, and it was pretty deep. I was really deeply hypnotized, and Like I really thought I was only under for about 30 minutes or so, but there's like a 4-hour video of the thing. So talking the whole time and like, but there's themes there that are kind of like how I am now. I kept saying, like, for this example, I said, well, my job, and she asked, do you have a job? Yes, I have a job. Do you have a family? No. Others do. I don't. Okay, well, what do you do? My job is to ask why. What do you mean? I'm with others. We ask why to things. What do you do when you find out why? We ask why. There's a lot missing, but it's like, I don't know, I'm being kind of vague here, but this was me under hypnotic regression, basically in some place where I had described myself as in trance, as like wearing robes and sandals and having long hair. And I think I said that my name was Sar or something like that. And there was a name and details about all that stuff. And the point to that's like, so the example here is the story. Like, I could get way too caught up in that story and read into, oh, I was a seer in Lemuria. That's what I was. So I've got to act on that now.
No.
That's what I try to, and I guess now, when you describe what in an organized fashion, of course, I do things differently. There are people that I talk to on a regular basis that I guess I kind of serve that same role for. They ask me questions regarding their, I've been talking to them, some of them for years now, and, they're unrecognizable from who they were at the beginning, just not in any bad way, just they've grown, things have changed. They say things that they didn't used to say. You hear people talking about God that they never would have before. I see that stuff, and that's just a little tidbit of my, online activity. I don't have that one-on-one system going, but it's fulfilling as all hell. To me, it's very fulfilling. It almost helps me feel more grounded. Do you find that with what you do?
You help a lot of people. I know about a few who message me and say, Tyler is my protege. I would be lost without him, and this is how I got to know you through others, so to say. And it's a really beautiful picture others paint of you, and I hope you know this.
That's really nice of you to say. I really appreciate you saying that. I guess that's two marks of, I guess, being a good person, is if you feel yourself, like in your heart, that, you're being heart-centric and you feel good about what you're doing. But we'd be lying as humans if we said that was absolutely enough all the time.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of that attaboy. We need that attaboy, attagirl once in a while to like keep us on track and like, okay, we're driving on the right. Everybody likes those little notes of confidence and things like that. And I mean, to me, the reason that's a compliment is because I know, yeah, that's true. I spend a lot of time talking to certain people about certain things that they've got going on. And it's never under the guise of like, I mean, if it is, I'm very much clear, like, I am not giving you financial advice. I don't. Like, people might know my story. It's not something I ever recommend doing financially. It's not responsible. The practices that one can put into place and things like that. And again, that's just another example of reinforcing those fundamentals for me, reminding me as the further I grow as a human, as a soul, and more now as a soul, where I used to think I was growing as more of a human, it brings me back and reminds me of how it felt to just have that whirlwind, dark night of the soul experience where, what I'm kind of defining it as is your old paradigm, your old belief system leaves. And, eventually you come to replace it with something, but there's that in-between stage where you have not yet replaced it with anything. You've kind of rid the old belief, but nothing of any structure or with any bones or legs or truth to you has replaced it. You've just, everything's a lie. And, so everything I know, I have to unlearn, and I got to learn new stuff. I don't know where to find it. It's a scary process. And then on the other hand, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I felt crazy. Like, how do I ask people about this? How do I talk to people about this without, what if I ask the wrong person and they think I'm freaking insane? it was hard. Not easy going through that real crazy spiritual awakening. I mean, I'm sure you had that experience too.
We all have, everyone who's awake had this
That's why we're
experience.
here.
That's why we're here. Yeah.
What was your, I know it's the kind of cliche question, of course, but what was your like, your big kind of awakening transition like? Did you have like a career beforehand? Was there a totally different life than what you're kind of doing now? Or tell me a little
Well,
bit about that.
I need to be honest. I haven't been much asleep, to be honest. I was pretty awake since I was a
That's
child, which
awesome.
was so. Well, it
Right.
was, yeah, it was kind of tough to explain if you are sitting in a classroom and you all of a sudden hear drums playing and looking around you and nobody's hearing what you are hearing and getting messages, etc., or dreaming what is happening the next day. So this can be quite irritating and scary for a 7-year-old, but hey, I made my way.
I didn't know on that zone. And yeah, and so you grew up in Germany, right? That's where
Yeah.
you've spent the majority of your life. Yeah. So growing up in America, just as I speak this because I grew up in America, but if here, I would say, I mean, it's at least my opinion that kind of thinking and such is, and I think this is, I mean, well, I guess it could be correct in sometimes, but that kind of thinking, if somebody says stuff like that, it's almost immediately met with like, we've got to give that a psychological diagnosis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia, or just, it's got to be labeled as some disorder. It's got to have
Right.
something to govern it, and a pill to govern the mind. Like, that seems to be the snap response, at least here. Did you feel like growing up in Germany, or did you feel pretty comfortable, as a kid coming into like being a teenager, just kind of, being
Well,
awake?
let's say my family isn't awake, so isn't yet. So I had a tough time, and it got to the point where to protect myself, I shut everything down. I was shutting all down all my senses, and by the age of 15, I was taking drugs, etc., just to shut down everything to get me normal, so to say. So I really had my tough time too. And this was my dark night of the soul. I was then rebellious, etc. And but I got to the point where I was really down, really, really down. And on the edge of the transition, like you described it beforehand, it's everything is crumbling around you, and you're not on the new path yet, but in the in between. And this is not quite nice.
Not very
Just say
settling.
that.
No, doesn't feel very good.
No, it feels good, right? It doesn't feel good. So yeah, and then I worked my way back to reopen up all the channels for me to the clairvoyant, the clairaudience, etc. And I made my way back to source, so to say. Um,
Yeah,
and
it's
through
a good
the
way of saying it,
human
actually.
experience. Excuse me?
I like how you put that. Made my way back to source. I mean, it sounds pretty grand, but why can't things be grand? I'm doing what I had to do to get back to source. Makes sense
Others
to me.
found Jesus, I found source. So.
It's not my quote, but I saw it once a long time ago, and I say it all the time. We were saying it earlier. It's like whether it's quantum physics, prana, quanta, Vishnu, Gaia, Father Time, Mother Earth, Allah, whatever, Jesus, Tyler, Sarah. We're all talking about something. We're talking about a creative force, a universal intelligence, something that's a higher dimension, something that's got a piece of all of us in it. We're talking about the same damn thing, and what differs is the stories. And obviously, what poked me, like, I've always kind of seen myself as, at least with a heightened level of discernment, haven't
Yeah.
always like identified as like, I'm an awake person. I did. I mean, I've been like, I got really interested in honestly like Buddhism and such, Zen Buddhism and meditation when I was probably in like the 8th grade. And, it served me really well. I mean, it was something that I just developed as a practice, but it's like anything, then levels came to that. And mostly it came with things falling away as things would fall away that were not a part of what I was supposed to be stepping into. For me, example, the meditations got much, much more meaningful, much deeper, much longer, much more unaware of time. I have no problem saying that very likely endogenous DMT experiences, using certain breathwork techniques and, meditating like that.
Powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I've only had substance abuse issues in the past. Also, that's not a secret. I'm open about that. I don't use there's some plants that I use occasionally, but they're legal. And I don't use drug anymore.
Me
Very
either.
rarely have any alcohol. Maybe have a glass of champagne at a wedding here or there, but like restrictions on myself like that. I definitely am not the garbage can, so to speak, that'll just dump it. I'll take it all, dump anything in me that I was in my early 20s or, in my college years. When I was in college, I was also touring as a guitar player. So it was like, I'd spend the weeks and the weekends off at a major Florida university. And then I'd go to Los Angeles to record, and then I'd go on a tour. It's like, I spent like 8 straight years, all one big party, going back and forth to like, that wasn't work. You know what I mean? But,
but after all,
I
it's
mean, I
not that.
really was party. Yeah, it's a
Party.
perspective.
It's not
So,
really party. It's
what's it really mean?
destruction.
But yeah, that was something that it's just a symptom, it was a way to escape. And I used to almost see it as a part of my being awake and my being open. Like, there's a little bit of me that still believes in that with, psychedelic healing, plant medicine and such. There are instances, I think, for certain people that, if, they're adults and they have a reason, I'm 100% for some of these treatments. Being said, I used to be 100% for like just randomly deciding to use DMT. Like, I don't have something against somebody who does that or says that they've done that or whatever, but I don't personally think of things like that anymore. And that's a miracle to me, because it used to be like, no, I really had a problem. Like, I had to stay away from anything at all, or, I'd end up just kind of into oblivion. Now, what always saved me is that my work, my career, my job, whatever I've always done has always been something rather independent in the arts. So if you got to paint, you have to play the guitar, or if you have to design a living room or something, like that's stuff that you can kind of do if you happen to be going through like a mushroom phase. Like, so I'm an artist. So it was enabling. And that's really important to me these days, is to not escape like that. I wouldn't learn the lessons that I learn. I wouldn't be able to reflect the way that I reflect. I wouldn't be where I'm at if I was still escaping in that way. I really think that's important, like sitting with the feelings that I used to try to escape from. Actually, I found has a lot more value than escaping from it.
And you recognize it. You
I'm sorry,
recognize you recognize what you have done. So this is it's playing all into the ascension process. I mean, I'm not sure if some people are not aware that ascension is not just clearing our etheric, emotional, mental bodies, all the spiritual bodies, so to say. We also need to clear our physical bodies. It goes hand in hand. I mean, we have a human experience. If we weren't a human,
part of it.
Yeah. So when you say you now like to be clean, you so to say, you got one step to your clearing of your body. I mean, how can I say this best? Some people
Like,
are neglecting a lot what we are doing to our body, because it everything goes hand in hand. I mean, we are energy, and only because it's physical, and the non-physical is so interconnected to it. If we meditate 2 hours a day and afterwards go into a bar and drink 10 pints and go to McDonald's eating a hamburger and whatever stuff, then yeah, whatever
Not
you
the
have
best
done,
man.
meditation. Oh,
Meditation is
Tyler.
not going to make you feel good in the morning. Yeah. No, what you just said is great. We just have good connections, so we laugh. So audience, we're just laughing. That's because we're on the same page. Like,
Yeah.
what we need is you can't. No, that's a really valid point, though. I mean, we're talking about ascension and spirituality and things like that, and we're touching on common topics. That's something that I see. A little bit of like, well, I don't really want to stop doing this, and I'm kind of seeing that this isn't seen as a very spiritual activity. Like maybe it's drinking alcohol. I mean, in the spiritual community, we tend to hear much about alcohol being like, the root Arabic word of alcohol, which it is a poison, technically. I
Mhm.
even have seen the practice of, channelers and, seers and priestess and priests who will actually end, a reading or a ceremony by taking a shot of alcohol. And it's symbolic of separating from source. They don't drink alcohol for the ceremony, but what, most soul recognizing cultures believe is that alcohol is dog shit for the soul. Well, we don't need to believe that it's dog shit for the body. We know that. It's just, it is.
We know
But
it's the day after.
yeah. But, at the same time, I don't like, when on the topic of ascension sponsor and guiding people through that kind of thing, I never want to tell someone like, you gotta stop drinking, man. Like you can't
No.
go out and play pool and have a drink, dude. What are you doing? Like, I would never tell somebody that. I might encourage somebody to get healthy if they're or get help if they were like in danger, but who am I to say like what people have to hold on to and let go of? Like, it's very subjective, and it's very subjective. Like, people are not labeling things the same way. What we're holding on to, what I might be holding on to for one reason, it's not the same reason somebody else is doing it. It could be a very earthly reason, and one could have like a very spiritual component. Spirituality is very unique to the individual, I think. And I think
Yes.
that's one of the great fallacies. Like, we have that term, the world, the religions, the big world religions. Like, really?
It's more of the
And I think about what you're
detoxification.
saying.
It's more about the detoxification of whatever we are taking. I mean, let's be honest. They're spraying a lot of stuff into the
Yeah,
sky.
you can speak freely here.
Whether people believe it or not, this is not good stuff, which is coming
They
into our
are.
soil. We taking it, we are eating it, etc. So of course, alcohol isn't bad. I would drink a bit of alcohol if I would like to, because I'm a human. I'm not a saint. But the thing
Yeah, and
is,
then it doesn't, I mean,
the thing
and
is,
you don't feel
the
like you have
point,
an alcohol
the
problem. People who
potion, the
know
potion
they
makes,
have like, oh, I have that. Yeah. Um, the
yeah,
intention behind what you're doing, setting sounds corny, but like literally vibrational frequency, state of frequency, that really could have effects on, I mean, it's certain, I can tell you for sure it has effects with medicine, setting, prep, diet for 2 weeks leading up. Working makes a
I can't do
world of
can't do
difference
reading if I get
in
alcohol.
plant medicine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And like for like ayahuasca ceremonies and stuff, they do not want you to have any alcohol before, and like for a month before. Like, they don't want any of that in your system. And it's not because they hate it. It's just like, it's not conducive to what you're doing with true plant medicine, which is interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know that. I mean, a lot of people have now heard of ayahuasca, and you can go down South America and you can do ayahuasca. Cool. Well, lesser known facts about those is I've done a few of those, like legitimate ceremonies. Usually a few nights. They're not one. You don't do it for one time.
Yep.
You drink the brew 2 or 3 nights in a row. And it's different every night. Usually it's a little more each night. And the first part's almost always heavy purging. You know, Mama Aya takes you where you're going to go. You're not supposed to go on that journey if you have not been following, you know, like I'm just saying this for people out there who have heard about ayahuasca and want to try it. Because I've told this to personal friends of mine and they were just like, oh, really? I mean, I've seen everywhere from a 1 month to a 3 month prep given by, you know, the organization or the shaman. And they're usually very much underground because the stuff is not, you know, it's religious. It can technically be used for religious purposes, blah, in the US. I don't know if they're allowed to like advertise, you know, Fox News or whatever. There's a lot of like dancing around it, but it's obviously something that's popping up into the zeitgeist more. And I'm just, you know, throwing a little insight in there that I think people should know that, hey, with these plant medicines, there's some prep. It's not quite as simple as you think. You're not just sitting down and having a cup of tea and leaving in 8 hours. Like a month early and you're there all weekend and it's one of the most craziest weekends and then what is life now?
Yeah.
They're amazing experiences. And, you know, on the alcohol subject, what I hear from the leading, you know, theorists and such on that topic is that when too much alcohol enters us, literally, I've been told that is when we've brought down our frequency low enough with poison. That's not my belief. This is just what I've been told, that that's actually when negative entities can take over your soul, can walk in, they can step in. And, you know, I started thinking about that. And I mean, I'll admit I've done some really crazy things under the influence of alcohol when I was younger and less responsible. But I've seen some crazy things done. And hearing that explanation, it's like, yeah, I mean, that damn sure could have been a demon in that person. I don't know. I mean, so I really go back and forth on that stuff, but I don't want to go any deeper, like in my own head, because I know I'm just going to dance around with it, and never get a real answer. Ultimately, I have to trust on like my
I really thought about this.
instinct.
Yeah, I thought about this topic before. It's interesting what you told us. I was more so thinking about if you want to ascend. Ascending is to get your vibe, get your frequency higher. So if you want to get your frequency higher, it makes sense to let go of things that lower your frequency. So if you are drinking alcohol and you are overusing alcohol and it's lowering your frequency, you are then attracting similar things to your frequency. And if these are some attachments or beings who whatever, can't tell, but it's definitely you are attracting a lower frequency energy into your life, and then shit starts to happen. This.
Yeah. The funny thing I've heard is, every time I drink alcohol, I break out in handcuffs. What? Stupid little saying. But like,
Nice.
yeah.
You shouldn't go on the drink.
You think they're gonna say? I don't mean me, but you think they're gonna say hives or rash or break out and damn poison the demon gets me. But we've all met people like that, and I think we've definitely all met people like that, and I think a lot of us have experienced at least a little bit of that. Like, wow, like I'm not in control of myself right now. What is this? And it's an interesting topic within the spiritual community, I think. Absolutely.
It is.
Now, of course, also in Germany, I mean, I'm sorry, what were you saying, sorry?
No, it's good. What is it about Germany?
I was just going to say, so yeah, by the way, because, being from Germany was drinking something that was like a really normal part of your childhood? Was it, did you have beers at dinner when you were 13 years old? Like, is that how is the drinking culture in Germany compared to?
Oh, well, I was growing up in Cologne. It's a city with millions of people, and so it was a bit lush. I think I drank my first cocktail when I was 11. My father went with me in a cocktail bar. He wasn't very into good parenting, but I think this was the first time, but regularly you can buy alcohol, like beer, at the age of 16 here. But normally, I think the average teenager has its first beer with 13,
They're
30
fine.
years.
Probably a little younger. Yeah.
We're
Well, that makes
surviving.
sense.
We're
Because
surviving.
it's always, I just, it's a mood. I just like to smile. Smiling is my favorite. Um, Maybe we should all smile a little bit more. I spend a lot of time in different cities and then I go to small towns too, but I travel a lot. So I tend to be in a larger metropolitan area most times. I live in one. I live in Tampa, Florida, Tampa Bay area, Florida, and I live right in the heart of Tampa, Florida, the main city. Like 4 million people in the Tampa Bay area. We're not small. There's a shitload of people here. And there's a markedly huge, there's a couple of massive differences I notice between going to, big cities like Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, all the time. And then Somersworth, New Hampshire, population 10,000, or Gary, New Hampshire, population 800. Like there's just inherent differences in what they are. To me, we're talking about smiling. I walk through Tampa and I could see 100,000 people, and I don't know if I'd see a smile. I might be able to I drink a lot. I'm gonna poke at people and try to get them to smile. That's what I do. So I might get a smile. But if you're walking through Tampa, people got their head down. They don't want to talk to anybody. If somebody talks to them, it's almost like it's a perceived threat. Like, why would you even talk to me? Why are you talking to me? Like, we feel there's an inherent sense of just distrust here.
Okay.
We passed a law recently where we're allowed to carry guns. We don't have to have a permit. We don't have to have any kind of licensing or anything. We can conceal handguns and we can bring them anywhere. Anybody who's an adult can go to a gun show and buy any handgun or an AR-15, and you're legally allowed to hide it in your pants and have it in Walmart because you're 18. Like, that's
This
kind
is
of,
crazy. Sorry.
I like my rights, but it's a little, compared to, let's use New Hampshire for the example.
I can only shake my head as
But
a
so I'll
European.
use
It's so
yeah, it
crazy.
must be way different than I was going to
Oh,
go to New England first, which is more liberal, but then take it to Germany. There are states in New England like New Hampshire and Maine where they have a little different gun laws. People have guns. They're not all carry. Like when you go, I play pool. Like when you go to a pool hall here, you're quite certain that at least 80% of the people in there have a gun on them loaded, or at least the men. Like it's not, you should, especially if you're out with like your wife or your girlfriend or you should. You're gonna, in sometime in the next 2 to 3 years, if you go out, you're gonna need a gun. I'm sorry. There's a chance.
I'm not getting why this happened.
That's
how
not my
did it
opinion.
happen?
This is not my opinion. It
No.
seems to be the culture in Florida and obviously just the laws of what we're allowed to do. Now, I'll, take it to, New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I walk around in Massachusetts and in Boston. It's a huge city. It's not like, oh yeah, Boston's safe. It's not Tampa. Boston's huge. And there's really dangerous cities around Boston, crime and things like that.
Yeah.
But there still is not that feeling that when you're in the grocery store that anybody starts getting angry, they both have guns and they're allowed to. Like, it's just an inherently different feeling. And for me, I don't know, because on one hand, I feel like, I don't want you to infringe upon my rights and don't tell us what to do. Second hand, I see way too many stories about guys fighting over the last whatever grocery store or mall, and that's not a situation where I think people should be getting shit. I'm not pro premature death. I just don't appreciate it. As an American, I don't hear hardly anything about any shootings in
Horrible
Germany.
story. This is horrible. Every time I hear about people wearing guns, I'm like, why the heck? Why the heck? How the heck did this happen? I mean, you can literally, I mean, Europe isn't the safest place you can travel to, but honestly, if I go into a grocery store, I can be sure whatever there is happening, nobody is having a gun.
That was a shooting. Yeah,
And
not
therefore, I
the
mean,
case.
therefore you can talk to people and they don't feel offended because I mean, a lot of people say Germans are walking around with this straight angry faces and they're staring in your face. Yes, but then the moment you are
Maybe a
talking to
little.
German or to a person, they are lighting up. They're like, "Oh yeah, hi." They were so caught up in their everyday life, therefore they are just, yeah. Why should I walk around and fake it if I'm
Yeah,
not feeling like I
I
want to?
can.
Why should I? And then the person comes and smiles at me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, wow, yeah, yeah." Now I'm smiling. Yeah,
I don't see that as rude. I mean, that's just authentic. Like,
right,
well,
kind
I
of.
don't know. I don't want people throwing personal scowls at just me. It's like, well, hey, what you doing? But it's a bad day or whatever. They're feeling a certain type of way, a little bit of energy, something. I mean, to me, it's been hugely beneficial to like stop taking that personal. That was something that the old Tyler did like crazy. I mean, I guess you would call it, a little bit of sensitivity, misdirected empathy, people pleasing, just like it was. It's something that I find myself doing a lot less now, and I'm much happier. I'm much more authentic. People tell me you seem much more at ease or calmer, which is something that's an external side effect of internally becoming a more integritous person, a more whole being, a something that's closer to what you perceive as your real self.
Congratulations.
But when you have other people notice that in you, it's then you start to get those confirmations, and that stuff feeds. I mean, I'll share a couple of mine. I've had some pretty crazy, like inexplicable experiences during this whole like ascension awakening. I mean, I've even
Yeah.
had a Kundalini awakening, Kundalini rising event, which was like incredibly, massively powerful. It changed everything. A couple other things. We were talking about this before off air, but my eye color changed, which we established can't really be seen on this definition. But whatever. They're green now. They were brown. Lost 140 pounds, and that's a lot. And I didn't try. I didn't count a calorie. I didn't say I'm not drinking milkshakes anymore. I didn't even say I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. That just kind of faded out as much. But
Yeah.
like things like that just are, and I've seen things like that aren't the same, but just inexplicable changes in others. Sometimes it's just a look in their eyes, sometimes it's an energy, sometimes it's a glow to them, an aura. And then but
May I
there's the
ask
other
how
ones
you?
where it's like,
Yeah.
hmm,
May I ask how
how
you
I
got your Queen awakening? Have you forced it, or
um
did it just happen to you?
it happened. And it's funny. I don't want to like out anybody here, but I guess I can touch on the story a little bit. Typical twin flame kind of journey found later in life, which twin flame journey is often misunderstood, and I don't claim to be an expert in it, but of course, I mean, I've read up on these things. Twin flame is not always your lover. It's not always your,
Thank you. Thank you.
it's not the soul. It's not the soul mate. Like you have a husband and he could be your soulmate, and you very well should be your husband, and you could meet your twin. You could have a quote unquote twin flame. Like it's a weird thing, Soul theory and soul contracts are not like they're not meant to follow like rudimentary phonics. They don't. That's not how.
Yeah.
That's not what they're restricted by. They serve a much higher purpose. Yeah. Anyway, the twin flame journey kind of came about, and the other person, I was just experiencing. we were both experiencing just massive like synchronicities. That was the time which my meditation started to really, I mean, Sarah, it was really to the point where like I would sit down and I meditate every day, but I would sit down and meditate. Oh, it's okay, it's 10. I'm going to sit. And then I'd go into trance and it'd be like 9 p.m. And I'm like, and trance the day away. Like I had to like kind of learn how to control it, like almost very weird. It was during that time. And the other person was doing work and studying Kundalini. I think even maybe like had taken some classes and things. So they were a little more into that aspect of it. Me, it just sort of happened, over the course of, and it happened through getting back in touch with, I'm an artist and I kind of buried my inner artist for some years. Calling interior design art. The way I was doing it was not art. I was a salesperson. I was an executive. I liked to call myself an artist. And I was an interior designer, but honestly, I was a business executive. I sold stuff at a very high profit margin. That's what I did. I wasn't really an artist. Much more of an artist right now. I played 3 shows this week at local places for free. That makes me an artist. Music, I play guitar and all that. That was my first career in the arts. But, now I'm just having fun going around my hometown, showing up at places and like, hey, can I play? Well, yeah, you can. Yeah. Like, we usually have to pay you. So you're just here and you're going to play? Awesome. Yeah, it's been fun. Like, but you're asking about the Kundalini awakening. And I want to touch base on it. I think it's mega important. Read if you're a reader. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And it's Think and Grow Rich is not a book that is just about obtaining dollars and stacking them and obtaining wealth. You can apply it to that, of course. You can apply obtaining wealth and, influence and the attraction to anything. That's kind of what that book is on. But the most important chapter in that book, and I'm saying this because I think if you are watching this podcast or any podcast like it, if you follow me, if you follow people like Sarah or my producer Jane, you're going to get something out of simply reading chapter 11 in and of itself of Think and Grow Rich, and it's transmutation, which is a very simple concept. We talk about it all the time. It's, in essence, taking something that was defined as, oh no, this is a bad thing. It's going to have a negative consequence. Not right to, it's a good thing. Look at the silver lining. No, silver lining implies that it's mostly bad, but hey, look at the good part. It's going from a habit of finding the negative to looking for a silver lining to immediately going as a third party observer, zooming out and being able to understand that time isn't your friend. It's not there to make sense of things for you. And sometimes you just have to wait and sit with feelings. Sometimes that's what the lesson is. And during that Kundalini time, that awakening, that rising, it was a buildup of things like that. Synchronicities, intense meditations, just a lot of different practices, things that would happen to the body that you just feel. And, you start looking into what other people were experiencing. But of course, hearing what other people were going through, actually taking those classes. But, what has happened in my personal life since is like, holy shit, just absolutely insane. Like the changes that happened. And they're by no means done. They're not anything to fruition. I don't know where they're going. I just know, man, it wasn't that long ago that I was looking at like something that looked like a beautiful painting that I had. Somebody cut with a knife and turned the floor. Oh, what happened to my beautiful painting? Now I see like a really big empty canvas and the broken painting's been cleaned up, and I love that it's empty. I've got plenty of paint. So, do you, Sarah,
can I quickly hop on the topic before you ask me something? I didn't want to interrupt you. So into your story, I didn't want to you, but
Yeah,
I want
absolutely.
to say something about it. The Kundalini awakening is really something I have stumbled across a lot. And it is blissful, it is beautiful if it's not forced. That is what I'm saying. I come across very often that are people getting really overwhelmed after they have, for example, taken a course or forced their Kundalini to rise, their energy to rise up the spine and go through their crown chakra by breath techniques, etc. And they're completely neglecting the inner work. And this is getting to a problem because you can get a Kundalini rising and then your channels are blown open, but you have so much density that everything
Because
at
you're
all
blocked.
comes. Yeah, you are blocked. Everything at all comes problems from it. I can't think of the right word at the moment. It was like a kind of spiritual schizophrenia, really spiritual schizophrenia. They
Yes.
haven't slept for days and such things, and where they had downloads whatsoever because they weren't able to balance themselves afterwards. So to everyone who is wanting to hop on the train of, oh, I want a Kundalini awakening, please do the inner work. It
It's
will
not a,
rise
it's
naturally. It
not
will
like,
rise like you.
it's not a,
This is
like,
why I asked you. It will rise naturally if you do the inner work. And everything that is forced, you have to deal with the consequences afterwards. And this is not so nice and can really hinder your process of ascension, basically.
yeah,
That's what I want
I
to
agree.
say.
Oh, no, Sarah, it's your, well, I guess it's our show, but,
We are talking. We
it's your
haven't. We have.
guest. You've got the floor. He can interrupt me all you good times. There's no rules here. I mean, I think YouTube has rules, but they don't tend to break them. I don't think. Every once in a while, somebody says something like "pandemic." It's all right. That's what we do here. Um, yeah, no. What you just said about the Kundalini rising, to me, that's a very good insight because I look at things from a little like from I try to come from the metaphysical. My physics is ever evolving, which I think physics is inherently ever evolving, but the physics that I recognize, the science that I recognize, isn't something that I learned. It's something that I actively keep up on. So quantum theory and, Einsteinian and Newtonian physics still trying to be rectified right now. Most people don't know this because we're not going to hear it until we actually crack that code and join all three equations and kind of get that everything equation where everything works out, where we can join, wormhole physics with Newtonian physics. That's not happening. Um, what is happening is we're discovering all sorts of new kind of like, oh shit, in between type of stuff, which is, basically everything that we have known as quantum physics and quantum theory. It's neither. It's a little bit of both. It's those things break down. And, you've probably heard this word. These things break down at a certain atomic level, like the laws of physics that we know. That's why they don't jive, because once you get to a certain level quantumly, then you're not going to join them. That math that did work out at a certain level, it doesn't work out anymore. I'm making an analogy here.
Okay, because I don't get what you want to say.
I'm making an analogy. So like with too much, with no inner work and too much of attention placed on something like I need to have a Kundalini, but there's no
Okay.
attention placed on what do I have to do to say prep myself for that? Am I ready for that?
Yeah.
Does one have to be ready for that, or can I just go and do that? Like, well, you have free will. You can take a course, or you can do whatever you want. But I think you explained it very well. Where I believe it's clearing chakras. I think there really is. I mean, and I know there's techniques for this, but I think it's a chakra clearing endeavor. Really, clearing of the chakras, not what is a Kundalini rising, but just a enlightening and an activation of all the chakras in the proper manner and clearing the blockages. Then I
Yeah,
think you're
it's
open
a
to.
lot. aligning, opening, clearing the
And then,
chakras. Every chakra is connected to a certain frequency in your body, a certain frequency, which is then connected to emotions, because emotions also are connected to frequency, etc. And you are cleaning from the lower emotions to the higher emotions. So this is the short form.
that's that little very fast domino effect that happens to us, and it's very, very, very well. I like to call things magic, and I like to say I believe in magic. I mean, magic to me is freaking real. I can't explain everything that I know to be real. That makes it magic.
Oh, there is so much
But hey,
magic on that. I mean, I had some. Well, when I say I had downloads, then I'm not telling about I'm not connecting to any outside energy. I'm just connecting to my inside. I'm just connecting with my heart, and from my heart I then get a knowing. So to say, this is what I call a download. So what I recently came across as a download was that every chakra is not just a chakra. It's a stargate. It's a DNA activation. So when we are operating from the lower chakras, we are from the one, two, third, and we are right now in the third dimension and have a second strand DNA, trying to get a 12 strand DNA human, which we basically are. We just simply forgot about it. Then here we
yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to connect the dots because it's such a vast topic. So we don't have just these 7 chakras. We have 12, 15 chakras. And
right. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, some are also etherical, galactic chakras, etc. Earth. And so,
They're not located in the body.
right,
They're in the ethereal realm.
right. They are not
Okay.
physical,
Makes yeah.
or not located in the physical, so to say. Yeah, that's
Right.
totally.
Yeah.
So with every chakra, we are activating a DNA strand, and the fourth chakra is the fourth DNA strand is the heart chakra, and from the heart chakra, we are operating to the higher realms, and we are now in the third dimension,
So
wanting to go up to the fifth dimension, which would be the throat chakra. So we are right now at the solar plexus, and the humans are evolving right to have a three-strand DNA, naturally evolving to have a three-strand DNA, but we can reintegrate our knowledge and reconnect ourselves to our original 12-strand DNA by getting our chakras aligned and clear and moving from one chakra to the other. And with every chakra, other dimensions get opened. And the fourth chakra is where it gets really crazy, where the magic comes into play. Because the fourth chakra is the fourth dimension, which is the the astral realm. The astral realm is the
yeah.
fourth dimension. So the moment you are opening your heart
Yeah.
space, you're seeing sacred geometry. This is what you are beginning to see. You see sacred geometries, you see patterns, because you are now not just entering the third dimension, you are also seeing the fourth dimension. You're cracking open, and
Right.
it will get really crazy the higher you get.
Pale thinning.
Yeah, the whale is
Yeah. I
thinning,
can only imagine.
who are doing
Yeah.
the work. Not for everyone, just those who are doing the work and who are conquering their chakras.
Yeah. That's always something that's pretty interesting to me too, is like the concept of individual work versus collective work, like conscious kind of stuff. It
We are
just makes me
one.
wonder, like, because I've always
We want.
believed in, you know, like a critical mass kind of theory. Like, we just got
Yeah.
to get there. Like, that's what I think. Like, I don't really pay attention to, I don't make traditional decisions. I don't follow the rules of business. I just whim decisions. I'm like very much understanding that I'm here as a meat suit Tyler um, this time around. Um, I do believe personally, and I've been told, not a new soul. I'm close to it. If you believe in reincarnation, that I'm not somebody who's just gotten here, that have likely reincarnated many, many, many times, which isn't something to brag about, by the way. It means you're really stubborn, didn't learn your lessons very quick. I feel like we're here. Like, I feel like, Tyler, like you might have, just lived a regular life, but it was pulled away because, and which I saw to be a bad thing. While it isn't a bad thing, I mean, my life on the surface is great. I love it. I love my friends. I love the people I spend time with. I love who I get to talk to, who reaches out to me, what we talk about. It really lights my fire. That being said, it's not like the most secure thing. You want to like sit down at Thanksgiving dinner with your grandparents and say like, yeah, I'm giving up everything and I'm going to just start telling the truth about aliens and hidden technologies and, soul theory and things like that. But,
all the rabbit holes.
It's all the rabbit holes. And that is full circle to what we talked about at the beginning. I think the biggest thing that served me was the ability to have the discernment during my initial awakening to not go too far down all those rabbit holes. I went down them just enough to, I guess, see and understand and accept that. And for me, it was kind of a hit because I've always prided myself on intellect, problem solving, intelligence. That's something I've always seen as an asset. So finding out that like, oh no, I know everything about like the history of this and that or whatever. To find out that it's like, didn't really like just like, for me, it was like, I felt like I had just done a thesis paper and then I found out that the topic was different. Like, just wrote a 50-page paper and it's not the right paper, like kind of like I just spent my whole life learning everything. And now I got to like, not only one, unlearn it and like relearn what the truth is, but I still have to remember what I was taught to like fit in regular society. Sometimes felt a lot like that, and I think it's good for people to just hear conversations like this and hear feelings of people who, maybe are, it's no problem. I don't think it's a bad thing for you or I to say like, we've evolved, we've grown, we've had awakenings, we're trying to become leaders, we're trying to help. That's not a bad thing. That's not cocky to me. That's shine your light. Absolutely.
It's not that. I mean, there are some blessed ones. I would say blessed ones who just wake up and are awake and just feeling great and everything is tutti frutti. I mean, awesome. But this is in general not happening.
That's great. No. Yeah.
I was reading Eckhart Tolle when I was on my journey, and he was describing like he wanted to end his life, and he was really down, and all of the sudden everything was like he was interconnected to everything, etc. pp. And I was like, okay, shall I wait for that? I think it's giving the false message out to the people because some are just waiting for their all of a sudden something will happen to me from the outside.
Yeah.
No, everything is an inside job. Completely.
You seek inward, that's the answer. The answer is, seek inward, seek self, which, to me meant like, okay, I'm going to find myself. Again, repetitive when I say this, but I think what that really means is get ready to let a whole lot of stuff go. That's, would you agree? You think it requires letting quite a bit go?
I would like to share something to let go for those who are listening right now, because I found it very handy on my journey, and I hope someone else will do it too. Basically, it's very simple. Just as an example, imagine something or someone who gives you not a pleasant feeling. I mean, it can be someone from the grocery store you met today, or someone from the traffic who crossed your lane, and you were like those road rage things.
Just like little
it can be something very
little
simple.
peeves.
Excuse me?
So it could be something like mundane and simple like that. And I imagine
Yeah,
You were
it
probably
can
going
be
to go on to
something
say
simple.
it could also be something.
It needs to be something that is where you feel kind of unpleasant. It needs to be an unpleasant feeling, and if it's connected to a person, it's ideal. So just to get a sense of what is to do is just close your eyes and imagine the person right in front of you who is pissing you off, basically. And then just feel in your body, does this feeling, where is this feeling located? And for example, it can be located in your stomach area. It, but it also can be located in your whole body. You can feel tension in your whole body when you think of a person, um, or different parts of your body. Just locate where the feeling is, and the moment you located it, you are imagining kind of a cord going from that feeling to the person you imagined standing in front of you. And you just see this cord going from the point in your body where you feel the location of the feeling, going straight to the person you are dealing with, so to say. And this is, you connect with that person, you see this cord, and you can literally grab it with your hand, wherever it is, grab it with your hand and hold it. And then you see beside you, a beautiful pillar of light going from the earth to the heaven. And this is source energy. And you are holding this cord, and you pat down this cord while you're holding it. And you are still holding it and getting it away from your body. You're getting it really away from your body. And you give it to source. You give it into this pillar of light. And you should feel the moment it is connected to this pillar of light that the person is lighting up. The person is lighting up, and the feeling in your body gets less. And if you're ready, you say, thank you, because this person taught you something. And then you just simply open up your hand and let go of the cord. And you know that the person and the feeling is cleared and saved by source. It's gone back to light. So, but now you have kind of let's say kind of a wound where you cut this. And you're placing your hands above this area where you had the feeling, and you float it with those beautiful light streams, white light streams, until it's really filled up. It's really filled up, and you feel like, okay, this is a beautiful sensation in my body now. It might happen that you need to do this a couple of times. It depends on the feeling and how deep it goes, but this is a beautiful way of letting go. And are you okay, Tyler?
Yeah. I'm I'm
You're holding yourself. It's
immersing
like you're
myself.
embracing yourself.
Oh, you told I'm putting my hands on the spot of the tension.
Okay.
I'm just following you.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess I
okay,
could go like
okay.
this.
No, you can. You can do whatever you do.
That's where I have tension. I was very relaxed though. Like, just when I had my hand out, like, so relaxed. You
Yeah,
have
I
a very
mean,
hypnotic voice, which is good.
thank you. I
You
do
do.
hypnosis too. So
Yeah. That's yeah, it's funny. Well, yeah, I imagine you. I would say you should. So, no, you have a very good voice for it. But I will say, so for example, those out there, and this is something that I see as valuable about this show, something that I can do, and I'm not a hypnotist. I haven't unlocked any energy healing abilities. I don't do Reiki, things like that.
you're
I
both
could lead you in a
right.
meditation or something.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that I've gotten good at just shutting off and letting go and taking the trust fall, whether it's for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 5 years. that's what I do when somebody like, Sarah's going to do something like that. Way more times than not, I have experienced some energetic reaction to I don't know, would you say it's more just me opening up? And I mean, I do believe in ESP. I do believe that we have toroidal fields. We have electromagnetic fields coming even off of our, not just of our heart, but off of our brains, etc. It's with trees, like it's an actual thing in like journals now. Like trees have like kind of a neural network. I really believe in that. Like there's human connection. People will tell me things like, how would you get energy work done on a computer? How would you get a regression? How would you get hypnotized? How would you get a reading? And I can't give an honest answer like how, but I can say that, well, I don't know, but you can, because I can't deny there was energy flowing through. I just feel like I was holding something that felt like light coming through my hand. Just for this example, it felt like I was holding on to something like tangible that it wasn't going to go up, because it's be like grabbing onto this cup, like it's there. It's just a testimony to how that feels when you're even just in a mini, like little reading or meditation, a mantra, anything like that. And, openness is subject to it. I like to just remind this and keep this as a drip, drip, drip thing. Like as someone who's had a lot of experience on the receiving end of that kind of work, that don't shy away from things that you're maybe unfamiliar with. How do they do that online? How did this? How did that? See, take a look into it for yourself. You know what I mean? That's all you can do. Give it a try. But I can say, do you practice Reiki as well? What are the other practices? Do you Reiki and such too? Yeah. So what are the most amazing things that's ever happened with energy?
I'm not performing Reiki because
No.
everybody. I don't like the concept of Reiki, because everyone is connected to source, and we don't need special Reiki symbols to get access to this. It's kind of ego based, right? It's like you need to have level 1, level 2, and only then you are able to get the real good energy.
Then you're a master.
This makes no sense.
I
did my master.
Like,
I did it because I was so caught up in this ego trap. Like I need to be that so that people take me seriously, etc. But mostly I did it for myself, and then I really after I was my master, I was like, well, basically everybody can do this. Everybody can heal with hands. We are electromagnetic. I mean, we have plus and minus. Everyone has like you said, toroidal field, and we are electromagnetic. And imagining is creating. This is how everything is working. So, if people need a Reiki symbol for it, okay, go ahead, do Reiki. But honestly,
it's a tool
you can.
For some,
It's a tool, and everybody can use it. Rather, teaching, I'm not doing Reiki sessions. I'm only teaching people Reiki and electromagnetic hand healing, because I think everybody should be able to do it. Excuse me?
Been told that. I knew a lot about that. I've gone deep down that rabbit, and the electronic hand healing, and the stuff with energetic cellular regeneration and stuff. And that fascinates me. Absolutely fascinates me.
Yeah, and this is what I'm teaching. I'm not teaching Reiki. I'm teaching how it really works.
That's really cool. So there's a little crossover in, I mean, something that I'm not a practitioner, but I'm very involved. I'm up to date on it, and I've had the work done on me, and it's been, I mean, ridiculously impactful on me. I have devastating injury to my neck and back. A few, I had a really messed up. It wasn't like all 100% of the time like debilitating, but it was chronic. Like since I was 16, 17, 18, somewhere in that arena, never anything less than like a, high to a mid to high level of like pain coming from, my hip, which I broke 3 vertebrae in my neck in a car accident. I broke a few in my lower back playing football when I was younger. I had a lot of head injuries and things like that. But the recent ones leading up to that were like the neck. And your Europeans always think that, like, why would you guys do that? Like, I don't know.
Like
I
I
think it
said,
was stupid too.
my husband played football, so
Wasn't good for
he
me.
kind
I
of
just
crushed.
got a bunch of concussions. Yeah.
So how is your
Yeah, it's a rough
health right
one.
now? How's your back?
So yeah, back to the energetic cellular regeneration, and shout out to Antonia Harmon. She's been on the show before a couple times. We do live streams together a lot. Her, myself, and Jane. Shout out to Jane, Jangel, DJ Jangel.
Yeah, Jane.
We do. She's the one who does the. She has that. If you've seen us talking about that the PTSD case study that is being run, it's actually like a commissioned PTSD case study. By some governing bodies out of the UK, which is legit. This is on 15 years of data done by, work done by Antonia and her 3 or 4 dozen practitioners underneath her doing energetic cellular regeneration. And they've kind of extrapolated that to PTSD. But I'm going to keep this to the energetic cellular regeneration thing, because you talked about doing that kind of work, with the hand healing and such, which I'm familiar with. But it's something that completely changed my life. Like I said, I would have weeks where wife and I would go to the mall, and I'd walk for, I'd barely make it to the food court or something. And just like, I cannot walk. I can't do it. In my mid 20s, like, what am I going to feel like when I'm 40, 50, 60? Like, and it was getting worse. Doctors never really said there was an answer. You can take a bunch of pills. No.
Yeah.
We could try this surgery. Like, we can try a surgery that doesn't work. Like,
Sure.
Antonia fixed it in like 5 damn minutes. Over, and what she does is, her. I don't want to like steal her story, but she's told it on my show before, and she's told it when I've been on her show. It's, I'll drop the link to this in this bio. So it's Antonia, we love you. She had read the book The Body Keeps the Score by his name is Basil Vander Kolk. Basil Vander. The Body Keeps the Score. And it's all about the electromagnetic imprint of the body. And it talks about things like, it talks about like salamanders and newts. How, if you cut a tail off, what they actually see is, an electromagnetic imprint of where that tail was. And we know that a salamander's tail will regrow. And but in between, there's something showing that, something's going to grow there. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense.
So this
because that happens.
They basically saw the energetic bodies, like the etheric body. They basically showed the etheric body, which is where right at the, it's pretty near the physical body. So when we cut off something,
really,
I know about it. Okay, go ahead.
It's good stuff, right? It's like amazing. It's the most amazing stuff ever. And the next steps in those studies we're looking at, it's like, obviously the next step is, and I'm probably going to get some shit for saying this, but I didn't do this. Heard that this is where it went. But I think that the next step in these studies was like, all right, well, we have to test we have to test like an organic animal, an animal or something that doesn't naturally regrow limbs, which means, I mean, you know that goes. You've got to fix something. Frog. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about humans, but like, some people would still find that very cruel, depending on who you are. But upon those things, they were still finding the imprint of the energetic body. Well, it doesn't make any sense because a frog doesn't regrow its leg. Why is there an energetic leg? then starts to explain things like phantom pain. I mean, human being amputees, every one of them will tell you about phantom pain. They don't have a left leg, but their left leg hurts all the time. Bottom of it. I mean, that stuff just hits you. There's an there's a leftover energetic thing to that leg. And
You know
everybody's
what?
saying that they're missing leg hurts.
I will send you my
Whoa.
course. I will send you my course details. This is exactly what you're talking about.
Right, that's what I was saying. Like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, it sounds from like familiar, yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I don't know what Antonia did, but I imagine it's very similar to what you are able to do. And I mean, what her and I are always promoting is a little different. It's in regards to the PTSD study, but what she did for me is make it so I haven't limped, damn near a year now. I mean, my permanent gait was a limp, pretty heavy one. And what you're talking about, what you just brought up before I didn't bring it up, it's happened to me. I don't limp anymore. So, I mean,
Beautiful.
there's very much credence to what you're saying based on my personal experience. So I'm really happy to hear you say that's what you're doing. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm happy she could really turn your pain around, so to say. This is amazing. This is a beautiful story. I would share it every day for the rest of my life. I would probably.
I try to talk about it. So when you're working with your clients, I guess, they're tending to come to you with a little bit of a level of discernment and awakening, and maybe even a little bit of level of awareness of gifts and things like that.
Need to be, yeah.
Are you helping people further develop, psychic properties, any of the clairs? Is that something that's a big part of your program, is to kind of further develop those gifts?
Well, it's all under the cover of Ascension, because the further we are clearing our chakras, the further we are going into the other dimensions, and the more we are open to the gifts of those chakras. Your throat chakra, you're getting more sensible to clear. I think it was clairaudience about the throat chakra, because this is this area. So this is when you go from the fourth dimension, from your heart chakra to the throat chakra, and clear the stuff there, then this comes online. So basically you can say, I'm not actually doing it. It's a side effect. It's basically a side effect of the work somebody's putting into their clearing, their work on themselves. So yeah, I'm not explicit saying, okay, you can learn this, that from me, because it really depends on the person and how dedicated they are to the process.
Yeah, and I mean, probably goes without saying that dedication, one thing, but I mean, you've got to have belief, and in not just belief in what you're trying to learn and teach yourself, but belief in whoever your mentor, guide, teacher, whatever you want to call it.
This is what I meant with, if we are not going, it should all be a balance of the physical and non-physical. And if somebody is really neglecting the physical part and is really eating some bullshit, excuse my language, eating bullshit, smoking cigarettes, drinking every day, and is trying to ascend, and they will be stagnant. And to an extent I can help them, but I mean, a healer, and this is something
at a certain point,
everyone should know, a healer is only capable of providing a certain frequency, and everything else is really onto the person who is wanting the healing. Just, I can only present you the frequency, and you can try to match it. If you are not willing to match it, I can do nothing for you, really nothing. If you wouldn't want to be healed from your back pain, Antonia wouldn't even be able to do this, but you wanted it. You wanted to match the frequency, and this is the whole point. So, yeah, if somebody is willing to develop their gifts, they will, because they are matching it.
I think, that's a great explanation, and I'm happy to have you here and explain what you're doing, and I'm happy to have learned. I mean, those who don't know, Sarah and I are, we live in different countries, but we speak, we know each other a little. I didn't know everything about what your practices were and everything like that. I knew some things I've seen, in posts and such, but not everything. I'm like elated to hear that that's happening in multiple places. It's multiple places that I
Yes.
know of. And it's
And I need
something that
to
I
do a shout
also
out
know
to Jane.
works amazingly.
Yeah, thank you. I need to do a shout out to Jane because she was really the one connecting all of us.
She would
She
love that.
is such a beautiful person, and she is really she's like she's like the spiritual connecting point of all people. I really everybody knows Jane. I barely know people who don't know Jane.
I always used to call her the great conduit. Yeah. Conduits are connectors, the little connections between electrical circuits. And that's what I used to
Yeah.
call her when I first met her. I mean, we're a little closer now than me to just call her the great conduit all the time. But I very much still do think of her and see her as that way. She's kind of the, yeah, almost like, I mean, I don't want to say like the matriarchal figure or like a leader because it's not supposed to be that, but
Yeah, I
she
get what you
has,
mean.
she has that quality where, you know, I mean, she genuinely is an altruistic person. She doesn't have any agendas.
Yeah.
I think that externalizes, and that's what happens. She really does come from a place of just wanting to help others.
And
And
she does,
that's what
and
we're
she
doing. We're not
did.
doing,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
she
I
does, and she
remember.
did, she has
Yeah, she does
always.
the group
That's what she does.
and connects people. It's really amazing, and it's really coming from her heart, and you feel it. And it's Jane. It's our Jane.
Call her Jangel.
Jane. I
Angels.
saw this once, and I was like, "Is he referring to Jane as an angel?" I'm not really sure, but I get it now.
Well, she does a lot for a lot of people.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, of course, her and I do the Immersive Podcast. She does a lot for the Immersive Podcast. Our duties are kind of split. What I do is different. I'm the one on camera and talking and all that kind of thing. And I guess the rest of what I do is, I mean, it doesn't sound like a job so much, but I'm very bubbly and talkative and social. You know, I, I spend days going out to random places, giving away hats and telling people about the podcast or random people. I don't care. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the boots on the ground. Like, oh, if you met him, then he definitely told you all about what he was doing and like
It's really too bad that
pinned you
you're over.
down and whatever.
Really. We would have such a fun
And
time
then,
just going around and telling the people, "Hey, did you hear about the birth podcast?"
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Do you feel like you're ascending? Are you a part of the ascension movement? Yeah, but when you said that, and it's so good to just laugh and have conversations like this because some podcasts are just, and it's good to just have an interview and ask questions, but
Yeah.
I like to watch two people who just connect and laugh and have fun and, you know, these topics can be really heavy. They can be really they can have really heavy implications, even if they're not necessarily
Everything.
so dark.
Yeah.
There's up. I mean, every one of these quantum topics has a pretty big implication somewhere. So to be able to have a comfortable, just kind of fun, making some jokes, but also having some legitimate insight kind of conversation.
Yeah.
The thing
Everything
about
is possible.
reincarnation, quantum physics and stuff is it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we need a restructuring of a lot of things around us. One of
Oh
the
yeah.
big ones is, celebrity culture.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. I don't know how that ever even happened. I also see, I see this, that word woo woo and the spiritual crowd kind of becoming like the quote unquote cool kids, so to speak.
Yeah.
People who it's a little weird, like of a flip. A lot more people now I know, like, they might have not ever watched stuff. Now they watch Ancient Aliens, or now they're
Yeah.
subscribed to Gaia, or what? There's just something that indicates that they've dug a little bit down the truth hole.
Yeah.
And everybody's at a different level, and that's beautiful to me because anybody who's starting to dig there is going to get somewhere eventually. That's where those labels get dangerous and those stories get dangerous. Because it's,
Everybody gets more
hey, to
open.
see,
Everybody gets more open to stuff. I remember
yeah,
when I went to a certain office here in Germany to get my license for my business, for my side business, as Essence Healing. I needed to get this to a category, and I said, okay, if you want a category, I'm a seer, right? And she was like, okay, I've been working here for
oh,
15 years. I've never had that. She was like,
nobody
she
said
was
that.
so kind, so beautiful, and really open to it, and was like, maybe you can tell me what you're doing
Give it a try.
specifically. I was like, okay, right, I can, yeah. And this was a German office. I don't know if anybody is familiar to the German bureaucracy. It's very straight, and we have here this document you
Rigid, right?
out and stuff like that. And it was completely
No
flipped,
nonsense.
and yeah, it was. I didn't know what I expect. I have to expect, but it was a really beautiful experience. And I see this turnaround in the collective. It's not just the internet. It's all around me, and it's such a beautiful thing to
That's,
see. And I hope this will evolve much more into the new earth we are waiting for, working for.
wow. And yeah, walking towards, I mean, I kind of envision it
Completely.
as a metaphorical, like a doorway or I don't know, some kind of like passageway that's finally at the end where it's like, get into New Earth now. We're there. Let's see it.
Yeah.
But, there's many interpretations into what it means. I mean, obviously Dolores Cannon goes into all that stuff. And I think her theories are probably the leading theories. I would say that's what most people are generally speaking on, whether they know it or not, when they're talking about the new Earth and, 144,000 souls and all that. Usually going back to
What really
Dolores's
resonated with that,
general
to be honest.
philosophy. But that's what I don't saying that's my opinion. I just feel like, for lack of a better way to kind of summarize it, it feels like a lot of people just kind of lean back on maybe not just Dolores Cannon, but one of the other big camps of thought based on the
Yeah.
new Earth. And I don't think it necessarily, what I'm trying to say is I don't think it has a definition. I don't think it has room for certains and room not for certain others.
I don't
I
think it
think
has.
I don't think it's like that. I think it's a state of frequency. I think it's something that we can explain
And it's
what we
something that
currently have.
somebody else future isn't written in stone. So it's
Mhm.
it really nothing is. Yeah, it is a possibility, but
It's a
yeah,
slippery topic. It's a
completely.
slippery topic,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's our thing though. Like we're working towards a new Earth or against a new world order, a shift. But
It's another
it says
story
something about
people
us because,
can.
but then it says
Yeah.
something about people, like we don't really know what that means, but we'll ride or die for it because we want to, what, I guess,
We want a new
graduate. We
earth.
want to
We
get to the
want.
next level. We want
Yeah.
change. We want better.
This same. I mean,
Do
if
you
we
think,
say, okay,
no, go ahead.
okay, if we think of the chakras being stargates, or the DNA strands, would you like to get stuck on the fifth DNA strand? No, I wouldn't want that. I would want to evolve further.
Oh, right.
So it's not just 5D. It's 60, 70, 80, etc. And I want
12.
to have it. Excuse me.
Well,
It's a bit
there's nothing
delayed.
wrong with saying that. Nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, I know it's okay. It's a little bit of a delay. Will turn out just fine on the actual recording and stuff. If you're seeing any pixelation or any like slight delays like that, it turns out just fine. There's always a little bit of that kind of thing on the actual recording itself. But we're seeing like
Okay.
low res previews. They come out in like in a 4K or something. Yeah,
No
I mean,
stress.
yeah, that's a really good point and I think it's kind of an interesting point to kind of end and ponder on, like, while running towards something that it's almost like we want to get away from what we don't even know. Some of us know more than others. I know. I mean, I've identified things that I really want to get away from, and I've gotten away from a lot of them. I don't participate in a lot of things that I used to participate in, like at all. There's major systems in society that I have completely removed myself from participating in, which I don't want to say I'm proud of, but I feel good. I'm happy to see it as like a freaking accomplishment and achievement. Like,
Much more
not,
than
I mean,
others.
and it's also possible that, yeah, I mean, to not have that puppet master. I don't know. I guess we all still kind of do, but anything to feel a little less like a puppet on a string.
Yeah.
It's gross. Gives more time to think. It gives you a damn chance. But that's a good topic, I think, to end on and ponder. Damn, I mean, we're here close to 2 hours, and
Yeah.
we're all running towards the new Earth. We don't know what it is, but we know we don't want to be in this one, whatever this one is.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And some of these conversations, it's awesome because I have this conversation a lot, and sometimes it's like, well, it's not always. Honestly, it's not usually this playful and fun, which is good because there's people that can have it that way. And other times it gets really intense and like it borders on tense, or you kind of wonder, like, is somebody going to get upset here? And like, it can be, depending on where an individual is in their process, you might poke a button that they're kind of on, like a level they're at, something they're stuck on. And, there's little things like that. So it's refreshing to just have a giggly conversation about things that are actually kind of serious in some senses, but to remind us, like, no, they're not that serious. Like, not serious enough to decide that you are John the Baptist reincarnate and whatever. Like, just blind, crazy decisions people make after going down the rabbit hole. It's like, wait, where are you going, man?
Yeah. Completely.
Is there is there any I don't know what you've got for time, or if you'd like to end with anything in particular, but I want you to, of course, mention anything that you'd like to mention that you have coming up, that you're doing, even if you already mentioned it. If you, I know we did that little bit of exercise earlier. That was great. Felt good. I don't know if you want to do a kind of reading for the collective or for me or anything that you want to do right now, to just anything. Just want to let you know that you have the floor. And Sarah, you've been a great guest. I'm happy to have you here. And if you have anything else that you'd like to just touch on, please do.
Well, yeah, I would really like to end it with first of all, I thank you. This is for sure. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciated the whole evening.
We
It
had a
was
little
for me. It's
goofy freestyle one. Yeah.
really appreciated. So I really would like to end with whatever you are on in your journey. I know it's like a rubber band. Sometimes it's stretching to the positive and it's flipping back to everything is going to shit, so to say. And I really want to encourage everybody that this is just a phase. It's a phase we are all going through, and whatever you are feeling, reach out to people you trust, or you can reach out to Jane, and you can reach out to me, and I don't know, I think we all can reach out to you too.
Yeah. So that's people always ask, what do you guys do? What'd you start doing? Like,
Yeah.
we grew really large social media followings, but we answer every message
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah, just reach out. I mean,
kind of no sense.
yeah, just for the
Feels good
people
though,
reach
I mean,
out. There are people caring, and we all care for each other, and we are building our community, and you are never alone, and everything is just a phase. If it's great, it's also just a phase. It will pass, and then will be something else coming forward. But please don't get lost in the hard times. So yeah, this is a great end for them, I would say.
yeah, I mean, that's something it's synchronous that has been coming up a lot. I find myself giving that advice. Like, I'm not seeking to give that advice. It's just, it's like what's called for in the instance. Like, I find myself telling that to people who are just, 2 months ago, they told me, "Oh my God, I just saw this," and they, like they had that aha moment. And yeah, I mean, it's nail on the head. They need to hear that. They need to hear that they're not alone. I needed to hear that I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
I just want to repeat what Sarah said. You're not alone out there. If you feel like, what is going on? My world around me is crumbling. My beliefs are crumbling.
Yeah.
Reach
Just
out to a like mind.
if I say reach out, I don't mean book a session. I mean really reach out and say, hey, I need help. And it's not that it's not about earning money or something. I mean, if you want to go on an ascension journey, you can book with me. But this is not what I mean with reach out. I mean reach out if you really need somebody to talk to, if you need an open ear, etc. This is what I mean. So yeah, just to clarify that.
You're you're angel for saying, I mean, we'd like to think a lot of people would say that, but a lot of people would get to a certain point and stop saying that.
Yeah.
A lot of people just might not say that. I mean, they might very well mean book a session, which I'm sure that's not a bad thing if somebody does, but that's absolutely what I mean too. Reach out,
Yeah.
Sometimes they make stories like, "Hey, reach out," because
Reach out. Yeah.
you're probably not
Reach
gonna unless I'm asking you to. Especially with men, like if they see another man like asking them to reach out, it might poke them enough. It does. It happens. It pokes them enough to reach out where they
I
wouldn't have
hope it does.
otherwise. It's like it's a response to the story of me saying. A lot of times I'll phrase it like, "Hey, you see this, and this. I have this, and this, and this. You look up to me for this. You ask me about this. I still feel like shit today, and I'm smiling, and I'm here for you. And if you need anything, honestly, it's going to make me feel better to help you." Like, it's just this never-ending process of, hey, that's what we land on. That's what New Earth is. It's a never-ending damn process of paying it forward, helping for no other reason than just to be there for each other. Yes, hell yeah, Sarah. That's what I'm talking about. We've got a similar viewpoint on this stuff, and you can tell when you can almost have like a fun conversation that, I don't know, some people might think is like, they have a weird shorthand. They just laugh. So it's good. That means we can do great things individually and together. It's good. It's a good thing.
It will attract the right people. It will attract the right people. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. I truly believe there's always there's always a reason. There's always the right person to see something. So yeah, right at the mark there. I'm so grateful that you're a trooper and stayed for so long. But hey, that's just more footage of you to go out there. And I really thank you for your time. All of Sarah's links, all her information will be in the bio to this. This video will be on YouTube, the Immersive Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else where podcasts are available. The Clippables will be on Facebook and Instagram at the Immersive Podcast. Miss Sarah here is certainly free to have some clips of her own if she wants to. That's up to her.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody, we will see you next time. And reach the heck out. And Sarah, we should link up again soon and do something live. Maybe people will have questions. Maybe we come up with a topic or something where, people can interact and ask questions. Those are fun to do also. So
we can do that.
Thank you. Bless your heart. Yeah, we'll plan one of those. So with that, this is your first host, Tyler. I hope on the next episode I've gotten a face haircut because it's getting really long. I'm laughing and giggling today, guys. That's who I am. It's your boy, Tyler. Out. Jane, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane.